Are we going to get the New Jersey update so we can start asking you for the New Jersey?
You're not going to get it for like a year, so everyone stop asking. And I keep saying you are going to get nothing, so stop asking.
I was going to ask, with a long break happening, do you think that you could all come back or no?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
that would be.
If they think that a break is going to bring like me and my brother back together, absolutely not.
He was a freaking jerk. So I started recording them. I started recording the girls, what they were doing. And he turned around and he's like, you put that, I'm going to see you with you and your fake diamonds. Fake diamonds, bitch. What, you don't know? You better ask somebody. Please, that loser. Find me, asshole.
Welcome back to Celebrity News Addict. And Happy New Year, everyone. I'm so excited to be back with a new video. It's the first one of 2025 and I can't wait to see what drama we're gifted this year from all our favourite housewives. Today, we're kicking things off with a whole load of gossip from none other than the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Less than 2 weeks into 2025 and these housewives are already making waves as the future of the show remains uncertain. In this video, we'll be diving into a full rundown of all the latest news, covering all the details of Jen Aydin's horrifying and offensive meltdown at Jersey Mike's, as well as her castmates and Andy Cohen's reactions to her public tirade. Plus, we'll get into the most recent Instagram feud between Teresa and Melissa, which is just as petty as you're imagining, and what you've all been waiting for, we'll be revealing all the latest rumours about the next season of RHONJ and potential recasting, as reports surface that Bravo plans a full reboot with a younger cast, and Melissa, Dolores and Andy Cohen comment on the show's hiatus. We've got a lot to cover, and I'm sure, as always with these women, there'll be so much more to come this year. So, if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe. I release new videos on reality TV news every other week, and I'm hoping to be able to release weekly videos for you guys soon to bring you even more updates. So please like this video, comment below what you want to see next, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to follow on with the messy, non-stop drama. Right, let's get into it. Never one for New Year, New Me, Jen Aydin kicked the year off with a bang by getting herself kicked out of an upcoming Wives on the Waves cruise with Teresa and Dolores. Just another clear sign that her time on The Real Housewives is over, and her fame, if you can call it that, is fading fast. It all started on January 1st, 2025, when Jen posted an Instagram story ranting about a Jersey Mike's location, where she complained about the quote, slow service and rude staff, moaning that the employees didn't smile at her and that she had to wait a long time for her order. As entitled as ever, Jen said, quote, Jersey Mike's supposed to be smiling. They're supposed to be smiling with a smile. They're not smiling.
So we're like so mad right now. We were online for Jersey Mike's for like what felt like forever.
Yes.
And the 80-year-old that was working there, I mean, the amount of time she took to cut that bread was almost as much as we were waiting on that line. Jeez.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my God, everything was slow. And then whatever, she fulfilled the woman after us first. And then when we were like, where's our order? She was like, you have to wait your turn. I was like, but we were in front of her. And then she was like, oh, okay, whatever.
On January 2nd, Jen then posted another series of videos from the same visit to Jersey Mike's, where she got into a heated argument with another customer, saying he refused to allow her to add an extra sandwich to her order.
So as she's making my sandwich, I add a tuna sandwich for Jacob. And she's like, you're going to have to wait online again. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then I asked the guy behind me, do you care if I just add a turkey sandwich for my son? He's like, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. It's ridiculous that I was adding another sandwich because he knew it was going to take another 10 hours to fulfill, and he was a freaking jerk. So I started recording them. I started recording the girls, what they were doing, and he turned around and he's like, you put that, I'm going to see you with you and your fake diamonds. He said it was ridiculous for me to get the sandwich for my son.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You know?
I thought he meant it was ridiculous for them to ask you.
No, he was reading.
I'm a law professor. You put any of that online, I'm going to sue your
That's okay.
piece of fake jewelry.
That's okay. Just another citizen, okay? Okay, my husband's a medical doctor, okay? Asshole. And all my shit is real. I am a fucking celebrity, you asshole.
Following 2 days worth of public videos from Jen, a Jersey Mike's employee snapped back. Sharing a video on TikTok, the employee calls Jen a bitch and explains her perspective, stating Jen kept changing her order and was delaying the line. Honestly, this just highlights how entitled Jen is. She clearly has never worked as a server or had experience in a customer service role, or she would never speak to anyone that way. Take a look.
This bitch doesn't know what she wants. She's over here ordering like 4 different sandwiches, changing the bread last minute, and we're doing it for her, right? But then it gets to a point where she does it so much that we're like, all right, man, if you want to like order another sandwich, you're gonna have to get back in line because you're backing up the entire line. She has people coming up to her, telling her what they want to order, and then she like, oh, can I also get this? Like, girl, that's not how that works. So when we tell her no, and she starts tweaking, she's like, I'm a celebrity, I'm gonna sue you guys, and she starts recording all of us, and she posts it.
Of course, one housewife can't even blink without the others chiming in. So, on January 3rd, Danielle Cabral took the opportunity to publicly comment on Jen's behaviour. She shared this post to her Instagram, overlaid with the audio from one of her fights with Jen.
You're dirty. Everybody was right about you. You're a piece of shit. I see you. You're a dirtbag.
Alongside the image and audio, Danielle captioned the post, "A leopard never changes its spots. Never. Everybody was right about you. You're a piece of shh. Cheers to the most housewifey post I've ever posted. Hashtag if you know you know. Hashtag housewife card activated. Hashtag unbelievable. Hashtag girl bye." The comments all back Danielle, with one user writing, quote, "She called herself a celebrity. Newsflash to her. If you have to tell people you're a celebrity, you aren't one." While another wrote, quote, "Further validation of why Bill bunks in the pool house." Anyway, the drama around this sandwich shop meltdown doesn't stop there, as on January 5th, Stephanie Fonseca, the daughter of the 80-year-old employee Rafaela, who Jen was attacking in her original videos, posted a series of videos on TikTok where she defended her mum and criticised Jen for age shaming and her incredibly entitled behaviour. Fonseca stated, quote, "My mother deserves a hell of an apology." And after receiving a load of support from the public in her comments, Stephanie decided to take a stand against Jen Aydin. So she set up a GoFundMe, which, at the time of recording, has received 97 donations and raised $7,470. Link in the description if you want to check it out. The description for this GoFundMe says, quote, "I came on here today in response to Jen's videos and her comments about my mother. I found it highly disrespectful, disgraceful, and disgusting. My mother, as every employee there that day, should not have had to endure that embarrassment, less have to deal with somebody's ignorance on a day like that day. Listen, you having a bad day? Keep it pushing. Don't bring that to everyone else. My mother wouldn't hurt a fly. She didn't need this embarrassment to make you feel good on a high horse. You didn't need to kick someone down to get up. You got your corny ass 5 minutes of fame and it backfired on you. What you don't know is you hurt someone's feelings in the process. My mother had to endure your insecurities and misery because you are unhappy with yourself." It continues, quote, "I'm making this page because so many of you offered to give my mum what she deserves. So I guess I'm here to say thank you, and we appreciate all the love and support." Stephanie added, quote, "She's not alone, and you will not make yourself feel good bashing her. My mother is a gem, a real housewife, a real mother. I love you, mummy, and this is for you. Team Rafaela." Following the headline-breaking public outcry, on January 6th, Jen Aydin was removed from an upcoming Wives on the Waves cruise, which she was set to appear on in September alongside Teresa and Dolores. The website behind the cruise, Fans at Sea, removed Jen's name from the event description, leaving just Teresa and Dolores to make the appearance. And, surprisingly, things still don't end there, as this tirade has gone on to be the topic of many more conversations in the Bravoverse. On January 6th, Andy Cohen weighed in on the spectacle on an episode of his Sirius XM show, Andy Cohen Live. Commenting on Jen's entitled behaviour, Andy said, quote, "She melted down," and described her social media posts sharing the incident as a, quote, "self-inflicted wound." He went on to question her decision to post the videos, stating that she should have considered how this was going to be perceived publicly.
She melted down. And you know what? How are you going to cause so much trouble for yourself?
Yeah.
On January 6th, co-star Margaret Josephs also discussed her opinions on Jen's behaviour on an episode of Reality Checked with Kiki Monique, claiming she was shocked by Jen's outrage. Marge recounted a story of a recent interaction she had had with Jen just 2 days before she posted the videos, where Jen was upset about being painted as the villain on the show. But then, just 2 days later, she goes and posts such entitled stories to her Instagram, painting herself as the villain. Marge said she was, quote, mortified and heartbroken by Jen being so entitled, and said she thought, quote, you don't want to be portrayed as the villain, then stop acting like one. Check this out.
We discussed stuff about the show, and she was very upset, saying she's always portrayed as the villain, and that's not who she is. Then I saw that. I was like, oh my God. These people are working so hard. They're serving you, and you being so entitled, it gives... I was mortified. I actually was mortified. And then all I'm thinking is, you don't want to be portrayed as a villain, then stop acting like one.
Then, a whole week after posting her original videos, on January 8th, in an exclusive interview with Us Weekly, Jen decided it was finally time to speak about her shameful behaviour. In the interview, Jen explained the full story in more detail, making excuses for her attitude towards the staff, and said that she regretted posting the video in the first place. She added that she believes she is owed an apology from Jersey Mike's and the man in line behind her, and said that she agreed with Andy Cohen's statement that the public hate she is now receiving is a self-inflicted wound, saying, quote, you know what? I would say that's accurate. Take a look at this.
I want you to know that in the moment, I was not rude to the Jersey Mike staff at all. I was trying to be polite. The elderly woman, she started threatening not to even give me the one sandwich that I was waiting online for 40 minutes. I just was quiet as a church mouse. I wasn't triggered until this person that I didn't even know was double downing on being rude to me. And now you're threatening me? Dude, I don't know you. Now, in my fury, when we walked away, I posted a story where I called the woman an 80-year-old, and I apologized for that. I was an angry mom. I was not a celebrity in that moment.
So, that's the lowdown on Jen's horrifying behaviour at Jersey Mike's. But this isn't the only Instagram madness going on just 1 week into the year, as Teresa and Melissa are at it again. I guess if your show is being delayed and potentially recast, you've got to get your publicity somewhere, but we'll come back to the future of the show in a second. For now, let's recap Teresa and Melissa's latest drama. So, on January 2nd, Teresa appeared on a podcast episode of All About the Real Housewives with Turning the Tables, where she discussed her relationship with Joe and Melissa. In a move as petty as throwing sprinkle cookies in the trash, Teresa stated the Gorgas are jealous of her, accused Melissa of pretending on Instagram that she had cooked a homemade meal that Teresa's mother had actually made, and said that Joe stopped buying her birthday presents after he married Melissa. Speaking with the hosts, Teresa stated, quote, he never gave me anything. He's never even bought me a birthday gift. Nothing. I mean, after he married Melissa, no, I don't think so. Before Melissa, he used to buy me birthday gifts, I think. But after Melissa, no. She went on to add that Joe did nothing to support her family while she was in prison, claiming he, quote, never helped her. Teresa said, quote, I've done everything on my own, which I'm proud of, and my daughters know that too. She added, everything I did was always for my parents. So I made him look like he was the best brother ever after Giudice left. Now, looking back, he only came around when we were filming. Teresa concluded the interview segment by explaining that it's, quote, too late now to reconcile with Melissa and Joe, spouting her usual lines where she accused them of lying and going behind her back to get on the show because they were jealous of her. She said, quote, I always tell my daughters, if one of you have more than the other, be happy for your sister because you're going to reap the benefits. Don't be jealous of your sibling, or don't try to hurt your sibling or talk behind your sibling's back. She added, quote, my kids never watch the show, but I'm sure one day they will, and then they'll see a lot of it. That's one thing I don't want to show my daughters. The day after this podcast went public, Melissa clapped back at Teresa in the comments of an Instagram post about the feud. She wrote, quote, is she still talking about us? Pretty crazy for someone who wanted nothing to do with us and doesn't care about anything we do. And, as always, fans are divided. One fan commented, I wish Teresa would just go away. She apparently has nothing else to talk about but Joe and Melissa, while another was firmly on Teresa's side, saying, quote, her brother and his wife used Teresa, and they can never accept that they owe Teresa everything. It's weird that they think they didn't do anything to Teresa. Whose side are you on? Let me know in the comments below. So, reconciliation is completely out of the question for both sides, which means the return of all the current housewives to season 15 is likely not on the cards either. Now, it's time to get into the last part of this video, the latest rumours surrounding the future of RHONJ. So, as we all know, in July 2024, after season 14 finished airing and we experienced the train wreck that was the Rails episode, Andy Cohen confirmed that there would be a shake-up, and the show couldn't go on with all of the current cast. At the time, he hinted that a rebrand was possible, but the network weren't sure what exactly they were going to do. He said they were, quote, taking their time to make a decision on the future of the show. And as of December, it appears that this is still the case. In an exclusive interview with Us Weekly, Andy was asked when there would be an update on the franchise. His response was, quote, you're not gonna get it for like a year. So everyone stop asking. Andy, perhaps accidentally, revealed that the show would be delayed until 2026, which brought the cast's unresolved conflicts to the headlines once again, and led to some interesting comments from some inside sources and the housewives themselves. One source close to the cast told In Touch Weekly that the housewives are worried for the future of the show, saying, quote, there is a little bit of panic across the board because they haven't been told anything yet. They added, quote, there's absolutely no news. Bravo has been quiet for months and everyone is still waiting to hear if their contract is going to be renewed or not. For the time being, the cast is keeping busy with their own individual projects and doing what they can until they find out if they're returning. Dolores and Melissa also weighed in and confirmed these insider statements. In an interview with The Sun, Dolores, who claims she is still friends with both Melissa and Teresa, said she thinks the reason why the cast haven't heard anything about next season is because the network and producers are fed up with them.
I've heard nothing from the bosses about our show. Nothing from production, nothing from NBC. It's all, we're not even talking about it. Like, they're probably just so mad at us by now that they're just, there's really, I'm not sure they know what to do. The fighting got out of hand. It really did. It got out of hand. A lot of things leaked, a lot of things on social media that shouldn't have been. A lot of fighting outside. So, and it was just got too messy.
In a separate interview with People magazine, Dolores expressed her own frustration at her fellow castmates and the way they all can't stop fighting dirty. She said, quote, I'm a little mad that everybody couldn't get it together. I really am. Following this interview and Andy's statements hitting the headlines, Melissa also spoke out about her frustration with the delay in production. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight on December 28th, Melissa was asked about Andy's reveal that there would be no news on next season until 2026. Check this out.
Oh my God, why? I just heard that. That's a really long time. Like, even if I'm a part or not a part, like, that's a really long time. Oh my God.
In limbo for almost 2 years.
Oh my God, I think he would lose everyone. Like, everyone would just be like, unless they're fully recasting, so they need that much time to figure that out, which, I don't know, I feel like they need to keep a couple familiar faces, if you ask me.
And perhaps Melissa wasn't far off when she talked about a full recasting, as just over a week after she gave this interview, on January 6th, reports surfaced that the producers had been planning to reboot the series. According to a report from OK Magazine, a source close to production stated that the producers had been pursuing a group of all new women after season 14, before second-guessing the decision and ultimately deciding to put both the existing cast and the new potential cast on pause instead, leaving us all in limbo. The source said, quote, when season 14 wrapped, Bravo decided to pursue taking the show in a new direction. Bravo offered a group of new, younger women positions to be on the show. The source explained, Bravo ended up not being sure what direction they wanted to take the show in, so they put the new women on pause. as well as the old women. This source also bolstered Andy's claims that we won't be hearing any news until 2026, as they stated, quote, "There's no plans to film anything for RHONJ until at least December 2025. This means the old cast could come back in some capacity, or it could be an entirely new cast. Truly, no decisions have been made." Speaking on the rumours and speculation around a whole new cast on an episode of her Turning Tables podcast, Teresa said, quote, "If there's another family that wants to put it out there, all the power to them." She added, quote, "I'll be cheering them on and I would give them my advice. I would love that." So it seems that she may be coming to terms with the possibility that after 14 seasons, her reign on the Housewives could be over. That's the timeline of events up until the day of recording on January 8th, and it looks like we'll remain in limbo for a while longer on the future of New Jersey. What do you guys think? Would you watch a new season with a cast of younger women? I personally would love to see more of Danielle, whether that's in a new cast or with the current Housewives, but I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more celebrity news and updates as they happen. Thanks for watching.